And just like that, the final episode of the recording session has begun. Welcome back to Eternal Sonata. I'm your host, MegaShadowFist, video second commentary. And when we last left off, stuff happened. I bet you weren't expecting that to happen, were you, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, anyway, we're in Tokoda something. I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, honestly, I have no... Where was I going with that? I had somewhere that I was going with that statement, but then I just randomly forgot. Scatterbrained commentary. We've only been around for 30 seconds. You know, only thing I should know about YouTube videos, ladies and gentlemen, is that what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to okay, Viola being stupid. That's not where I was. That's because I was facing in the wrong direction. I can't really blame anyone but myself for that. But one thing you have to keep in mind about YouTube videos is that what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to be able to. You have to try your hardest to capture your audience's attention within 5 seconds. It's like 5 or 10 seconds. This seems to be the average attention span of a random passerby on YouTube. If you can't capture their attention within 10 seconds, they're just going to click off the video. And then after the first 10 seconds, what you're supposed to do is and if you can, this isn't like something that I've been told, this is something that I've gathered from my own. Okay, no, I wanted to do a hill arrow. If you can keep their attention for a full minute, they're very likely to at least watch half of the video that you're watching, which is honestly isn't too bad. Preferably you want them to watch the full video, but you know, it's one of those things. Not everyone has the time or the patience to watch a full 20-minute video, or more than likely 40 minutes in this case. And let's see what's over here. This will teleport me here. I guess this is where I'm supposed to go. So let's go ahead and save. Intuition, I suppose. I just love saying that for some reason. It started randomly too. Well, not really. I just love saying that. It's a quote from Tales of the Spear. I was about to say Tales of the Abyss, but no. We don't speak of that game. Even that was a good game. All of them, according to reviews anyway, are fundamentally good games. The only one that hasn't really done very well review-wise is Legendia, which is by far the least popular. Hold on, before we get onto the thought. It drops her attack. Okay. Because Legendia, which got like averages like 75%, because it felt like a step backwards in many ways. I've said this before. You know, they added in random encounters, which you know they got rid of with Tales of Symphonia, which is the 4th Mothership title. And let's see what else is there. What was I gonna say? Okay, I should have gotten a counterattack, but I did not. No surprise there. What was I going to say though? But yeah, but it did very well. Actually, the worst game that the Tales series did was actually Tales of the Tempest. So bad, in fact, that was what many people consider to be the reason why there's a distinction between Mothership and Escort titles. For those of you who don't know, Mothership titles in the Tales series, those are like the main games. You know, like they're not side series. You know, they have like their own canon to them in the Tales universe. Whereas Escort titles, on the other hand, are just side games. Usually they're like stuff like Tales of the World or something, where like okay, Harmony Chain. I missed my chance. Oh no, I got it. Or something like Tales of, like Tales of the World, for example, where it's like a mashup of like a bunch of different Tales characters put into one. Or something like that. Tales of the Tempest was like, considered to be very unpopular by most, and that's when the, Konami, that's when, we don't speak of Konami here. That's when, Capcom, Namco Bandai, that's when Namco Bandai were like, well, you see, actually there are Escort titles, which, you know, you don't really have to pay attention to. You know, they're not, it's one of those things. But as far as official Mothership titles are concerned, Legendia did the worst. I don't know why I randomly went onto that subject, but it's one of those things. We'll just go ahead. You know, it's the final episode of the recording session, so I can be a lot more free with my random discussions, I believe. We're not going to go into the full random subject just yet, but, you know, it's one of those things. Let's go ahead and beat this guy up. Coup de Jarnac, I suppose. Youch! I remember, you guys, I just remember in Scooby-Doo, I believe it was the new Scooby-Doo stories, or adventures. As it not to be confused with What's New Scooby-Doo, which aired in the early 2000s, talk about the new Scooby-Doo Adventures, which aired during like the 70s, where they had like a special guest every time. I remember they had Phyllis Dillon as a guest one time, they had the Harlem Globetrotters actually as guests one time, which was interesting, the Three Stooges. I remember whenever, like, Shaggy, in the new Scooby-Doo stories, whenever Shaggy got, was scared, he was, instead of going like, ah, or like, zoinks, he would just say, ouch! That was my Casey Kasem impersonation, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. That was absolutely terrible, I know. It's one of those things, I suppose. Okay, let's go ahead and, go to the back and hit you. Now, Casey Kasem, you did the voice of Shaggy for a long time, actually. Because, like, you know, while most of the people who did the voice for the original cast, like, just left after a while, Casey Kasem was still doing, you know, Shaggy up until, like, late 2000s. Or at least the mid-2000s. I don't know what his last role as Shaggy was, but anyway, that's one of those things. Let's go ahead and shoot you with an arrow, and then shoot you again with an arrow, and then shoot you again at the... I really need to work on those counterattacks. I really do. Guys, every time I don't get a counterattack, just yell at me. Go like, God, you missed! You missed it! How could you? You're so dumb! That'll encourage me. Consume them! Coup de Jarnock and Harmony Chain, actually, never mind. Forget the pain you felt in your dream. Only person who's really in need of health is Frederic, which means that what I'm going to do is the next time I play as Frederic, assuming that I don't kill this guy with Viola, or with March, is I'm going to put him into the light, and get a, not a Sacred Signature, but a Spirit's Pathway. There we go. That was good. Now Viola should finish this guy off, I think. Assuming that we can aim correctly, I'm going to not get a shot off. Nope. I hate when that happens. Oh well. And no, Viola wouldn't have finished him off. He still has quite a bit of Aurora Curtain left in him. I remember somebody kept defending, they kept defending Redo. I was like, oh, you know, I don't think that Redo has anything special for him. He's like, oh, Phantom Wave, you know, Redo was Phantom Wave. No, that's not good enough. I mean, sure, it can attack multiple people, but it's like, that's not good enough. I have moves that can do that too, so no. From better characters. And to be fair, Redo isn't really a bad character. He's just too plain, in my opinion, for my playstyle anyway. Oh, too early. I hope that doesn't give me a status effect. It did not. Good. Alright, whatever the case would be, let's do a bone crumble on your stupid foot. Yes, I did a bone crumble on his foot, ladies and gentlemen. You know, in some cultures, people might consider that to be rude, you know, doing bone crumbles on their feet, but, you know, too bad, he deserved it. That's what you get for being a bad guy, ladies and gentlemen. Although, it could be argued that maybe they're not really bad guys. Perhaps we're the bad guys by just invading their home and attacking them randomly. You know, those little candle things, they could just be random, everyday candle things. Looks like March leveled up. They could, you know, just have a regular job like everyone else. They could have just been on their way home, visiting the little candle family, and all of a sudden, boom, we just pop in and just kill them, you know? That's legitimately messed up, ladies and gentlemen, I think so. We're the bad guys. You know, it's like, one of those things where it's, I don't know, anyway. Fight!
How pitiful. You soulless creatures.
You soulless creatures indeed. I say that every time. It's like I say, you soulless creatures indeed every time, and then, one of those things. Anyway, whatever the case would be, Aurora Curtain should not finish him off, but let's see how much damage it does. That did... Okay, so total we did 14,731, I believe, assuming that I memorized that number correctly. But...
Forget the pain you felt in the dream.
Let's see, but I'm not quite sure how... I wasn't quite paying attention to how much of that was off of just regular attacks and what wasn't. Boom goes the dynamite. Not bad at all indeed. Okay. See what's here. Well, there's an enemy that we can fight. Let's fight.
You foolish creatures.
You foolish creatures indeed. Take that. Take that. Take... Okay, whatever. Let's go ahead and beat you up the old-fashioned way. I'm doing Aurora Curtain. Aurora Curtain! So anyway, without further ado, before we get too repetitive in the commentary sector, let's have a random topic of the day. Actually, I have two to talk about this time. Actually, recently, I was watching Mighty Number 9. Or I was looking at the Mighty Number 9 updates, because, you know, I'm a backer, so I get back updates from Mighty Number 9. And recently, they actually announced a Japanese cast, and it was quite interesting. For the English cast, the only people that I recognized was, there was, that I could recognize by name. I can't say that I haven't heard any of the other guys, because, you know, it's one of those things. There's a difference between knowing who an actor is and actually knowing their, roles. But, you know, Mighty Number 9 is going to be voiced by Yuri Lowenthal, who you should know. If you've been watching my series, you'll recognize, or if you've been watching my series for a long time, you should recognize him as Luca from Bayonetta, but he's also known for doing Luke from Tales of the Abyss, as well as another character who I won't say because that would technically be a spoiler. Somewhat. I think it is. I think it'd be easy enough, if you figured out who it was, it'd be easy enough to figure out who that person really is, simply off of voice actors alone. I think so anyway, but it's just one of those things. Let's see. Steve Bloom actually has a role as well. Okay. That was weird. He has a... Was that a glitch or something? Steve Bloom has a role. I believe his name was like Countershade? Countershot? I think it's like Countershade or something. He's like the sniper guy. And then Matt Mercer is doing, what's his name? I don't really know all the names of all like the mighty number of people. It's like Pyrogate? It's like this fire guy. I shouldn't have to explain who Steve Bloom is because he's done a lot of things. Matt Mercer. What do I know him from specifically? He did Leon Kennedy in Resident Evil 6. I believe he did Anarchy and Batman Arkham Origins, and apparently he's supposed to be doing Robin and Batman Arkham Knight, among other things. I believe he had a role in Street Fighter 4 as well. I can't quite remember who, though. Anyway, whatever the case may be, but that was the English cast. And then for the Japanese cast, I recognize two characters by name, and that was Sawashiro Miyuki, who did, she's done a lot of things. I believe she did the voice of Cammy in the Japanese version of Street Fighter 4, and she's known for doing Celty in the Japanese version of Dirarara. She's doing, what's her name? I believe her name is, I really need to. I'm sure that I'll learn the names of all the characters once I actually start playing the game and everything, but it's one of those things. And then the voice of Cole is voiced by Mao. She's done a few things. She has a relatively short career. Technically she's been in the biz, I should say, since like 2007, but she didn't get her first, or not even 2007, like 2003 when she's like a little kid, but she didn't have like her first voice acting role until 2011, which 4 years might sound like a long time, but in the grand scheme of things, it's really not. For the Seiyu Awards, which is this thing they have in Japan where they give like awards for like Seiyu and whatnot, they have the best new male actor, the best new male Seiyu, and the best new female Seiyu, and they give awards to 6 people, 3 males, 3 females. The requirement for that is that you made your debut within the past 5 years, so it's one of those things. But anyway, let's see. She has a role in, currently she has a role in Reikon, but she also had a role, I remember her specifically from, Samurai Flamenco, where, she played as, I don't remember what her name was, but like, she was like, Flamenco Diamond or Flamenco Girl originally, but you know. Anyway, but yeah, that's that. That's one thing I wanted to say. So I don't know, you guys have seen that, but you know, I thought that was interesting. But actually, that's not the actual topic that I want to talk about. And this is a topic that I wanted to talk about for a little while anyway. And that's this, right? So, well, recently, right? I was waiting. I was in line. I was waiting with a friend to watch. I was waiting in line to watch Avengers 2 in theaters. We watched it opening week in IMAX 3D, so we had to wait in line to go to the room. And we were talking about for some reason we got into the topic about Star Wars movies. And he's like, I hope that the Star Wars Episode 7 isn't like the prequels, right? And I was like, oh, you know, I actually like the prequels, right? And then he's like, and then my friend was like, oh, you know, I really hate you, you know. Where's gonna describe how much I hate you right now? And it's like, here's the thing, like, that friend of mine, he's not someone, like, who grew up in, like, the 60s, 70s, or 80s, you know, people who, like, I guess grew up, with the original prequels and the original Star Wars films, and they were disappointed with the prequels. He was one of the people who, you know, in my age group, you know, people were in like the early to mid 90s who grew up with the prequels. And, you know, that's one of those things. It's like, honestly, the prequels aren't fundamentally bad movies in my opinion. I mean, compared to the originals, I don't think that they're as good, but they're not fundamentally bad movies. I think they're legitimately decent movies. Sure, they have their problems, but I don't think that they're as bad as people make them out to be. And that goes on to this whole thing of bandwagoning. You know, it's like, if you're someone in my age group, you know, like some 20-something, you know, complaining about how bad the Star Wars prequels are, you better have a pretty legitimate excuse, pretty legitimate critique for it, because otherwise it's just going to come across as bandwagoning to me. It's like you're joining the hate bandwagon just because. Like, if you're someone who grew up in the 60s, or like 70s or 80s, or heck, yeah, if you grew up then, you grew up with the original movies and you were disappointed with the prequels, you know, I don't really consider that to be a legitimate criticism per se, but I can understand where you're coming from, because I'd be lying if I said I wasn't like that with certain things, you know. It's like when you grow up expecting certain things to be a certain way, and when things are different, you just don't really appreciate it that well, you know. So I can understand where you're coming from, but you know, if you're like in your 20s, you're like, oh, like early 20s, you're like, oh, the prequels are such garbage, blah 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 blah. You know, it just sounds like bandwagoning. You know, it's like it's like. I remember, The Big Bang Theory, for example. I remember I started watching that show during sophomore, junior year. I legitimately liked that show. I legitimately did. But, you know, and, you know, back then it was okay to like it. No one was like, oh, you know, it's like, you know, it's just like nerds just pretending to be nerds, but for hipsters, blah, 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 blah. People thought it was a legitimately good movie. And then, or not movie, but TV series. I actually have the first 6 seasons on DVD. I haven't really watched them yet, but I actually do own them. I legitimately like the show, but, you know, after it won an award, people started getting on the hate bandwagon for it. It's like, oh, you know, it's popular, it's not really like nerd culture, blah, 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 blah. And, like, you know, some of those same friends who before the hate bandwagon were, that I knew actually liked the show, they started saying, oh, this show is stupid, it's stupid, and blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, why do people do that? Why can't people just have their own opinions, you know? Like, you know, if you have an unpopular opinion, just stick with it. You shouldn't just freaking cave into everyone else's opinions, you know? Like, another example would be the Resident Evil games. Like, you know, like, the general opinion is that 1 through 3 are, you know, absolutely amazing absolutely amazing video games. I don't know why I keep calling everything movie. Absolutely amazing video games. 4 is either you love it or you hate it, 5 is garbage, and 6 is even worse. That's what most people believe. Me, personally, I have not played 3, but I have played 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6, and in my opinion, I actually like the newer games better than the older ones. That's just how it is, because, well, I mean, I just do. They're not fundamentally bad games, they're just different, you know? And, you know, if you're someone who if you're not really necessarily grew up, but if you're someone who played, like, the first few games, you really love the horror element, even though not everything from it was super original, actually, Alone in the Dark, which came out in 1992, is known for actually being a bit more, I think it's a bit more known for actually coming up with the formula of fixed camera angles and tank controls and whatnot, but Resident Evil is what popularized it and improved upon it in a lot of ways, and I have a lot of respect for the older games because of what they've done for not just for horror games, but what they've done for video games as a whole. And I really like playing them because they just have a certain feel to them that you just can't capture with the newer games. But at the same time, I still believe that fundamentally, as far as playing them is concerned, I like the newer games better. For watching purposes, I believe that it's more fun to watch people play the first 3 games, simply because, I don't know, it's just like, it's like just hearing people's stories about, you know, like when the game came out and whatnot. Like, you know, there's a YouTuber by the name of ShamusSwitchPKC. He did a great series on the second game. He did a great series on the second game. Unfortunately, he turned off comments a long time ago, or not really a long time ago, I'd say a few months ago, so you can't really read any of the comments that came out when people posted when the game came out, or when the videos came out, but you could still watch it. I don't know, that's just one of those things. It kind of bothered me a little bit that he did that, because, like, I know, like, some people, like PewDiePie, when they turned off comments, you know, it's like, it's shame. It's like, you know, it's for the record, it's Shamus' channel, so I'm not really gonna, like, complain about it too hard. Honestly, it doesn't really affect me too much because I don't really comment, but, like, you know, when PewDiePie turned off, like, his comments, like, he only turned off comments for, like, the more, like, newer videos, the more relevant ones. All the older ones, he left comments on, so you can still comment on those. And so, although it made it so that you couldn't create any new history, all the old history was still left intact, and that's kind of why I was somewhat disappointed, because I can't really, you know, just like watching older videos and seeing the comments that people had, you know, I like stuff. I like seeing stuff like that. You can't really do that when you turn off comments. But, you know, it is what it is. It's his channel. I'm not really going to complain about it too much. I respect his decision. It's just that I don't quite agree with it too much. But, you know, it's whatever. But, you know, he did a great series on Resident Evil 2. I'd recommend watching that if you felt like it. If you feel like it. It was pretty good. I really loved, like, his intros. Like, in a time where, like, the Chicago Bulls were like were thought to be unthinkable or thought to be unbeatable and blah 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 blah. It was interesting. You just have to watch it for yourself. I haven't really quite memorized it, but you know, I believe the playthroughs of like the first 3 games are a lot better to watch than the. It's like although I do like the 4, 5, and 6. Well, more specifically 5 and 6. When it comes to actually like watching them, they kind of, when it comes to like Let's Play material, they feel kind of generic, I think. Whereas the first 3 games feel a lot more unique, which is why they're more fun to watch in my opinion. Especially like when I said like I said when people are sharing their experiences playing the game. But
Nice to meet you.
I know it's one of those things. But it's like anyway, back to the subject at hand though. It's like if you're one of those people who's like, oh, you know, 4, 5, and 6 are such terrible games because this, that, and the other, you know, that's fine. You know, if you have opinions, if you have critiques about it, that's fine. But if you're one of those people who just has legitimate, if you're just one of those people who's just hating just because everyone else has, especially if you're one of those people who hasn't played a single one of them. I know there are people out there who are like, oh, 4, 5, and 6 are garbage, even though technically they haven't really played anything. They might have watched like 2 episodes of like a Let's Play for like Resident Evil 1, and all of a sudden that makes their opinion valid of them preferring the original games, which is complete baloney. But you know, if you're one, so what are your opinions on things, ladies and gentlemen? I mean, like I said, there's nothing wrong with disliking the prequels or disliking Resident Evil or The Big Bang Theory. It's just that if you're gonna dislike it for the right reasons. Don't just bandwagon, because it's bad. I mean, it's not really bad. It's just, well, it is bad. I'm just gonna say it. It's bad. Don't bandwagon. It's dumb. Okay? That's, if you get anything from this video, just don't bandwagon. Okay. Well, that's that, I suppose. Block Chance Debacle. And what I want to do is I want to get Viola into the light. She is next, and then do a hill arrow, please. Hill arrow. Oh, could have done a harmony chain. I missed my chance. Oh well. Whatever the case would be. Actually, I believe whenever you get a harmony chain, they actually make a sound. But normally, I have like the volume of like my game turned down a little bit lower than I normally would when playing solo, simply because, you know, I want to be able to hear my voice properly and a bunch of other things. Like, cause like, you know, it's kind of how it is. You know, when you have like the volume up, you magically, without even trying, you magically start talking a lot louder. Like I remember during my freshman year of high school, you know, because for those of you who don't know, I played band. I was a clarinet player from 6th grade up until my senior year of high school. I remember my freshman year of high school, we had like this after-school rehearsal that we had to go to for like it was either winter or spring concert. There's a friend that I talked to who sat next to me who he absolutely hated band. He signed up for his freshman year, but after that he left. He was a clarinet player as well, and I remember he was just like, okay, I don't really feel like being here. I'm just gonna like listen to music. So he had his iPod and he was listening to music, right? And my band teacher was like, okay guys, now we're gonna go ahead and start playing. And I tried to get his attention. I'm like, oh, okay dude, you might want to stop listening to music. You know, we should, it's time for us to play. He's like, what? He said that super loud, and then he got yelled at by my band teacher. You know, you don't want stuff like that to happen, because actually, my voice is actually already pretty loud as it is. Like when I'm doing videos, like, you guys might not realize it, because like I do like audio balancing and everything to make it a lot more tolerable than what it actually is. But like when I'm talking like right now, like this is actually really, really loud. Like even right here with like my room in my room on the top floor with the door closed, you can hear my voice very clearly in like the living room area. And if you were in the basement, you could probably still I wouldn't say that you could hear me perfectly, but you could actually still hear like you could still hear my voice, because that's just how it is. I have one of those voices that just carries, and like it's annoying because, you know, it's like even when I'm trying, like let's say like I'm like in a position where I'm trying to be like super quiet, like everyone's quiet, I'm trying to talk in what I think is in a perfectly acceptable voice, and then people are just like, oh dude, stop being so loud, you blah 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 blah. You know, it's like, okay, I understand that I'm trying to be quiet, but it's like, I don't have very good noise control of my voice. Or volume control, because, actually I shouldn't say, oh, I should say that I don't have proper volume control, but it's not just because, it's not just being loud, it's on both ends of the spectrum. Sometimes I'll say something in what I think is like a perfectly acceptable volume, but actually I'm just talking incredibly quietly. I don't even realize it, because to me it sounds normal, but like people just don't hear it, and then either they don't hear it, or I just say it so, or they just flat out tune it out because whatever. Or like I just talk really, really loud. It's very rare that I'm ever in the middle. I blame my family for this. I have a very loud family as it is, so, you know, it's one of those things. You know, it's like, you can, it's especially for me, because, like, I consider myself to be a generally light sleeper as it is. Generally speaking, like, if you come during, like, the wrong sleep cycle, I might end up being a bit more on the, heavy side, but generally speaking, I'm a pretty light sleeper, so, like, if someone's having a conversation in, like, the main living room, especially, like, my family, considering that, you know, everyone in my family seems to have a very loud voice as it is, it wakes me up. One of those things. I can't tell you how many times, oh, Harmony Chain, please, did I get it? Yes, I did. How many times, like, I was, like, waking up at, like, 5 a.m., because, like, my sister is still in high school, so she has to wake up, like, super early, and for some reason, you know, not very much of a morning person, generally doesn't, seem to be very, you know, because some people are like that, you know, and so then my mom would be like, okay, time for you to, like, hurry up, I'm trying to drive you over to the bus stop, because, you know, you're a transfer student, and because of that, you can only get picked up at, like, various elementary schools and whatnot, so, you know, which the closest bus stop is a mile away from the house, so I'm gonna have to drive you there, so hurry up, 'cause I need to go to work. And then that wakes me up. Hasn't happened in a while, though. But, you know, it does happen. I think this teleporter is going to go over to that section in the middle. Have I been on this teleporter yet? I'm not quite sure. I guess not. It did not go to the section in the middle, either. Alright, it's one of those things, though. Fight!
You better pull your head in.
You better pull your head in. But that's that. That's my random topic of the day, I suppose. Get back to Eternal Sonata, Tales of Sonata. You know, that should be a game. It should be a crossover game. Yeah, actually, one thing I don't think I've mentioned this, but you can actually, in Tales of Vesperia, I believe it's a costume for Flynn. I believe. Is it for Flynn? Or maybe Year. It's either Flynn or Year. You can actually get a costume of. It's either, I believe it's Redo. I believe you can get a costume for Redo. Or maybe actually I think it's Frederic. You can get a costume for Frederic for Flynn, I believe. It's one of those things, because especially in the PS3 version, they added a lot of costumes, like they had like Tales of the Abyss costumes. Oh, I thought I tried to get a Harmony Chain, I didn't get a chance to. Like they had Tales of the Abyss characters, like Estelle dressed up as Estelle had Tyr's outfit, Flynn had Luke's outfit, and then Yuri had Ash the Bloody's outfit. One of those things. But, you know, it's just one of those things. You know, that's not like the first Tales game to have, like, costumes from, like, other Tales games. Or any other game to begin with, but it's quite interesting.
That was fun.
That was fun indeed. This is a really long... Yeah, these dungeons have been getting longer and longer, as to be expected. Remember that time when I could confidently finish a dungeon in, like, one sitting, one session? I can't really do that anymore, I suppose. Oh well.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. It's not really that big of a deal. So anyway, we're like 24 hours into the game. This is supposedly a 30-hour game, so assuming that I'm right on track, that's like 6 hours, right? And because I do an hour and 20-minute recording session, that's equal to an extra hour every 3 recording sessions. So 3 recording sessions would be 4 hours instead of, you know, like what it used to be, where it used to be like 1 full hour. Just 1 hour, which would be just... So 4 hours for every 3, so that's, basically, you get 6 hours in 3, let's see, 3 recording sessions equal to 4. Add another recording session, that'd be 5 hours and 20 minutes. Add another recording, add the first 40 minutes. So 4 recording sessions, 4.5 recording sessions, basically. would be 6 hours. That's assuming that we're on track. For all I know, I could actually be pretty far into things, or actually, for all I know, I could actually be very behind. In reality, even though I'm like 24 hours into the game, I should actually be, you know, I'm actually at what realistically is probably about 18 hours into the game. I highly doubt it, but you know, it's one of those things. How was that, ladies and gentlemen? But yeah, it's just one of those things. So, anyway, without further ado, I don't know why we haven't went onto that topic about, you know, being relatively close to the game, into the game. 24 hours. You know, of course, that doesn't really mean anything because, you know, according to How Long to Beat, you know, Ace Attorney Justice for All is supposed to be, I think, 12 hours long. I don't know exactly how long my playlist is for Ace Attorney Justice for All, because for some reason YouTube, when they adjusted they made it so that playlists, they can tell you, they now tell you when they were last updated, but they don't tell you how long the playlists are anymore. You know, last time I checked though, like if you were to consider every video to be 20 minutes long at the bare minimum, and this is before I did my final recording session, by the way, it was like 27 hours long at the bare minimum. And obviously, you know, I made the policy that like the final episode of the recording session is going to be 30 minutes long at least, so you know that adds up over time. It was a lot longer than it was supposed to be, ladies and gentlemen. So, but then on the other hand, sometimes I beat games a little bit faster. Like I believe that I beat Dead Space a lot quicker than I was than How Long to Beat had in mind. It's just one of those things. But, you know, I say that every time, don't I? I go on about how, you know, just because How Long to Beat says that doesn't mean that it's set in stone. That was actually kind of a waste. Not really a waste. Actually, Frederic was in need of help anyway, but I don't know why I said it was a waste. It was, the reason why I said so is because I was actually somewhat disappointed that I didn't do like an attack, because that's what I wanted to do. Whatever, Bone Crumb, I should finish this off with him. Boom! There we go. You don't look so good indeed. And Aurora Curtain, please. Nope, that didn't really do anything. At that, I'm fairly confident that if I did like a Loco Supernova on him, I would probably have finished him off, I think. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a Spirit's Pathway, get in the dark, and I'm still technically in the light somehow, whatever. Feel is next, should Feel finish this guy off with a arrow shot. 2 arrow shots. 3, nope. And there we go, you're dead. You did well indeed, I think. Alright, 39. Level 39.
That's better.
Oh, level 38 for March. And is Frederic gonna level up? I doubt it. No, he did level up. How powerful is that guy that everyone leveled up? It was like we fought like a boss or something. That's odd. I guess we're at that point where pretty much everyone's level ups are getting very close to being in sync with each other. At least the main party anyway. Jazz, who we've never used, is level 31. Like, it's so weird. Like, I remember mentioning this, like, how usually in Tell's games, like, you could have, like, a party member out for, like, the entire game, and by the end of the game, they usually, for most normal players anyway, they'd only be about 1 or 2 levels behind your strongest character. But in this game, if you don't play as them very much, like, they get set really far behind. Like, they really do. It's like, Beat was part of the main party, Beat and Salsa are part of the main party for, when we were split up, yet they're already 4 and 5 levels lower, weaker than the weakest enemy in my main party, who, when she was first introduced, was weaker than these two were. Falsetto, who was 1 level stronger than March, at the beginning of the recording session, is now 2 levels weaker than March, and we've only been playing for like an hour and 13 minutes or so. It's kind of, we haven't really been leveling up very much either. It's kind of weird how it works like that. Anyway, let's go ahead and fight.
You dare to turn your sword to me?
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the next save station and then end off the recording session from there. Because, you know, just doing things the way that they're supposed to be done. You might say, how are things supposed to be done, sir? And I might say, I don't know. Just ask a friend. I don't know. 16 Echo Aurora Curtain. Dead. And block. Oh, I missed my chance. Oh well. Beat you up a little bit. Can we get like a 16 Echo Coup de Jarnock? And okay, there we go. I'll finish him off. Did we attack with Viola already? What is everyone's speed at right now? I feel like Viola attacked last. She probably didn't. I just wasn't paying attention very much. Because I was just busy focusing on stupid stuff, I suppose. Aurora Curtain, please. That's not going to finish him, especially since I barely made any contact with him as a whole. Akuta Janark should finish him off, I think. Let's see. 16 Echo? Nope, it didn't, actually. He's very weak, though. He's fatigued. Viola will finish this guy off, I suppose. And boom! I guess not boom again. I guess not boom again. Okay, whatever. Anyway, Aurora Curtain. Or Eclipse Gaze, sure, whatever.
You did well.
There we go. Let's see. Let's see what Viola's... Alright, so 267, 107, 179, 152, 239, 155, 220, 146, 241, so he still has a bit better attack than than March. 191 for magic. Frederic actually is the highest magic. Defense of 166 and speed of 126. Actually, let me see. Let me compare March to Salsa. 209 versus 239. Keep in mind that March is 4 levels higher than Salsa, but I'm just trying to see. 81 versus March already had a natural higher magic than Salsa did anyway. 155. Defense of 220. March already had a natural higher defense than Salsa anyway, and Salsa has a speed of 142. As I mentioned before, Salsa had better attack and speed than March, but March had better defense and magic. But at this point, it doesn't really matter because she's strong enough that she beats March and everything. I mean, she beats Salsa and everything. Why am I mixing up everyone's name all of a sudden? Like, this ain't good. What I'm gonna do is I want to look for. Okay, we'll get in one more fight, and then I'm gonna try to look for a save station and things off. You better pull your head in, buddy. You better pull your head in. You better pull your head in. 3rd shot! Woo! In any case, let's go ahead and beat you up the old-fashioned way. Is there any other random topic that we want to talk about for the day? I'm not quite sure. If there really was anything, or if we could just have like a random story time or something, I don't know. I already talked about like the Xbox Extreme thing and like the freaking whatchamacallit. Let's see, let me think of like some other moment in life where I was just like super gullible or something. I did something stupid that like... Oh! I remember one time. Okay, so I saw like my dad was watching TV, he's watching Forrest Gump, right? And I was like, oh, you're watching Forrest Gump? He's like, no, actually, this is Forrest Lump. I was like, Forrest Lump? What's that? He's like, oh, you know, it's like the sequel to Forrest Gump. Like, there's Forrest Gump and there's Forrest Lump. And I believed him for some reason. And so then, like, Forrest Gump came on eventually later on. And, like it was, my whole family is there. And I was like, oh, my whole family, my dad, mom, and my little sister. They're like, and I was like, oh, are you watching Forrest Gump or Forrest Lump? And I was like, oh, you know, Dad told me there's a Forrest Lump. And then he just starts laughing super hard, like, oh, yeah, this is funny. You know, I told you about Forrest Lump, and you actually believed me. Even though in reality, that was just a bunch of baloney. Okay, one of those things. Forrest Lump, ladies and gentlemen. Best movie in history that never even frickin' existed. Just one of those things. That's how I am. I'm gullible. Or, not really that gullible anymore, but I used to be. Now I tend to be a little, I think, a little stubborn, I think, at believing things. I just don't believe very much at all, because it's like, oh, you know, how do I know you're not lying? How do I know that you're not, you know, using some stupid appeal to authority fallacy? Like, oh, you know, my brother who happened to see, who happened to do some research on lawyers, you know, on Wikipedia, said that, he said that, you know, it's technically legal for you to, sue somebody for, you know, looking at a car while it's nighttime in 1754. Yeah, I don't even know what I'm talking about. Just go with it. Viola is next, but she has that stupid footlock on. I don't even really know what the name of that status effect really is. Heal Arrow. Oh, I missed a harmony chain because I was busy making sure that my computer screen doesn't turn off. Or my computer doesn't go to sleep mode while I'm recording, because that happens! That's just how it is, for one reason or another.
There is no way for you to stop.
There's no way for you to stop my relentless advance. There's more, but where's this gonna teleport me to? I don't think I can go back either. No, I have to. I can jump down here. I don't think that's gonna lead to a save station. I need to fight all these guys and then go to the next save station, I think. Okay, let's fight you.
How pitiful. You soulless creatures.
You soulless creatures. Anyway, everyone's pretty much at max health at this point for the most part. No one's like super. Yeah, no. March actually has perfect health, but you know, that's March. You know, she has less health than everybody else does, so things are a little different. But you know, still good to have pretty much perfect health. Kudish or not, please.
Forget the pain you felt.
Forget the pain you felt in your dream. And Dark Antique is what these are called. Okay, out. Block. Block. Okay, no, whatever. Shoot! Shoo fly, don't bother me. By the way, when does a copyright break for Happy Birthday? Like the Happy Birthday to You song, like, because you know that song is technically copywritten. I believe it's technically supposed. I think it's technically supposed to be. It won't be into the public domain until 2030 or something like that. One of those things, I believe. Anyway.
You're a mess.
I think so. I'm not quite sure. Okay, what's down here? What does this lead to? We'll just teleport. Who cares? And this will lead to. Is there a save station nearby? I would very much appreciate it if there's a save station nearby. We're not even going to focus on enemies right now. We're just going to... We're strong. We fought enough enemies that, like, skipping a few isn't really going to make that much of a difference, I don't think. I want to find a save station. We'll fight this fish thing, though, because he's kind of in the way.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you indeed. I say that all the time, don't I? It's just one of those things. Just filler commentary, man. Well, you know, everybody does filler commentary more than others. I mean, some people do it more than others, but everybody has filler commentary. I just tend to do it, I believe, in my opinion, a bit more than other people. It's just one of those things, I suppose. Anyway, coup de Jarnock, please. Ooh. I guess I could... Yeah, I'm not really going to talk about that next time. I'm not going to talk about that now, but if I remember, I might talk about that next time, the next random subject. About my whole... Talk about, like, when I first started doing YouTube, because, like, those of you who don't know, I'm not going to get into the full subject yet, but I started this channel back in 2010. I did it during the summer of 2010, just before my sophomore year of high school, but then once school started, I sort of stopped. And then obviously back in 2013, during my first year of college, I rebooted everything back in November 2013. But actually, even before this channel was created, I had another channel, which I had been uploading videos on since 2007, but actually during the summer 2009, just before my freshman year of high school, I did some Let's Play type things, and quite interesting actually. But what was I going to say though? Some Let's Play type things, and I would just talk about my experiences back then versus now. That'd be interesting. I'll talk about that. I'll talk about that in the next recording session, assuming that I remember, which is possible, but also not possible, because I could just forget, because that does happen from time to time. Can we... Okay, these things are really vicious, though, so I might as well just initiate... fights on my own, considering... Because, like, these things are very vicious. They'll attack you without a second notice. They'll be, like, 8 trillion miles away from you, and then they'll just be like, "Rah! Attack!" Unlike some enemies where it's just, like, they really don't look so good at all. Poor thing. Aurora Curtain... Will that finish? Yes, it will. 16 Echo would definitely finish him off. Now, Frederic, let's see if you can beat this guy in one turn. He's slow enough that, you know, he gets to attack first, but can you beat this guy in one turn? Let's see. Build up to 16 Echo, coup de Jarnock, and yes, you did.
This is but a brief parting.
This is but a brief parting. I think, anyway. I think I say that all the time, too, but it's like...
This isn't good.
Oh no, he attacked from behind, didn't he? Oh no! I tried attacking him, but it got a sneak attack on me. Yep, out. Oh well. Oh well, we still have our healing characters and everything, so it shouldn't be too bad. It's not like they do super OP amounts of damage, as it is. Viola's next. And I can't block that. Did you get the stupid foot? Okay, good. Alright, beat you up just a little bit, and do a bone crumb. That's probably not going to finish him off, I don't think, but we'll try. Boom, it did finish him off, actually. Next order of business is... Actually, what we want to do is get Frederic into the light, do a Spirit's Pathway.
Power shall become a shining beacon that will bestow healing upon your
Broken Wings. Spirit's Pathway. Harmony Chain? Legion Fulminante.
Forget the pain you felt in the
I actually need to listen to what he says, so make sure that I'm saying it properly. Viola is going to shoot that way. That's cool. And boom. And we're gonna go this way. And attack Aurora Curtain. Actually, I should have gotten to the light and done a supernova, but oh well. I love that. It's an awesome move because it reduces the. Let's see. Can we finish this guy off with just regular attacks with Frederic? Maybe. Yes, we can.
not be ashamed.
Do not be ashamed. Really though.
Maybe it's time to upgrade.
Maybe it is time to upgrade because you're level 40, man. Night Arrow.
That's better.
Level 39? Yeah, pretty much everyone's getting in sync with each other at this point, it seems. Not quite. Almost, though. What is Night Arrow, though? Hawkeye versus Night Arrow. Okay, so Night Arrow, okay. Oh, heal all party members except yourself. Okay, so this one's probably like a super OP version, though. So I think what I wanted... Because this is it's infinite heal all party members, but it's probably not as good as Night Arrow, where it heals all members except yourself, but it's probably like super OP. We'll go with it, who cares. I want to be able to at least heal some people in the
They're
nighttime.
attacking because they're afraid of us.
And since Viola's a distance person as it is, we don't really have to worry about her health too much as compared to other people. Actually, I want to see how much health it brings up. So if we can build up 32 Echo, we're going to, and then have her try to use it. And block. I could have gotten a counterattack off if I was smart, but I was not. Oh well. Block too early there. Okay, left drill. Does that give a status effect? No, it does not. But anyway, we'll back up a little bit. Shoot! And shoot. Okay, March. Looks like Frederic is after this, though. Will we be able to get a 32 Echo? Whatchamacallit? I believe we will. We'll try to anyway. Okay, so when Viola's next after this guy, so block. And we're gonna go over here. Hold Y, Night Arrow.
Reach out. Night Arrow.
75, 20 is how much it heals at 32 Echo. It doesn't heal me though, obviously, but actually that's better because Heal Arrow only heals well, it only at full Echo I believe it only does like 3,000 or 4,000
Back into a nebulous
4,000 HP or something like that.
much better.
Much better. I feel really strong considering that everyone is 40. Well, I mean, in Team Strawberry anyway, except for March, who's level 39. I don't know, just hitting that new milestone, it just makes me feel a lot stronger. I think. I don't know, maybe it's just me. In any case, let's go ahead and save the game and end off the recording session, I suppose. Considering. All right, over slot 1. There we go. So. That's that. So when we next start off, we'll continue doing more stuff in this area, and I guess destroying even more enemies, I suppose. I think we're relatively close to the end of, not the game, I'm going to say the end of the dungeon, I suppose. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, without further ado, I guess we'll end things off here. So, if you like this video, this series of videos, please feel free to leave a like if that is cool. Please feel free to subscribe and join the Elven Brother today. Also follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/MegaShadowFist. I'll be sure to leave that in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is MegaShadowFist signing out. Bye!